Monday night is RaceSpotTV, and where else would you be but Monday night Skippys? Coming up next, it is round number 6. Halfway through the season, and we're at the green hell itself, the Nordschleife. Join us in just a few moments.
Before you can get on track, you'll need to calibrate your wheel and pedal set. You'll need to do this in iRacing even if you have already done this using your own controller software. Prior to entering the sim, make sure you've downloaded and installed the latest drivers from the manufacturer's website. Once that's done, follow these easy steps to calibrate your controller. We recommend calibrating in a test session, so pick a car and then click test. Don't go into a practice or official session. The last thing you want to do is have you go on track and crash into another car. Once you're in your test session, click on the options button. You will then see input calibration. This is where your calibration takes place. Start by clicking on the steering button. You will then be prompted to turn your wheel fully one direction and then another. Make sure you place your wheel back into its centering position before hitting done. Now, you'll be asked to turn your wheel 90 degrees to the left. Make sure it's at 90 and hold it there while hitting done. For pedals, click on the pedals button. Here you'll be asked to press the throttle all the way down and then release it. You'll do the same for the brake and clutch pedal if you have one. For the gearbox, you'll first be asked to set buttons for sequential shifting. Once complete, a prompt will ask if you have a H pattern shifter. If not, hit no. If yes, click it and you'll begin to map the gears individually. Once you've completed these steps, you are calibrated and ready to go racing.
Monday night comes once every week, and here on RaceSpotTV, that means one thing. It means Monday Night Skippys is back. Hello everybody, welcome, I'm Rachel White, and I'm joined as always by Connery Maddock, and the man from the frozen north has returned. We have Linus Brostrom back in the booth once again, the rather shrewd Swede here to give his opinions on the racing. Now he's returned from the snowy wastes, and well, today we're here at the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring, the Green Hell, that really long thing that takes ages to get around, and where we're today doing 3 total laps. Yeah, this is how long it is. Each lap is about 8 minutes. So we talk about our 1 second bracket, and today that 1 second bracket is exactly 3 cars long, because the difference in lap time stretches from 7:55 through to 8:22. Connery, that's probably one of our biggest gaps in terms of field spread, but this track tends to handle quite a lot of people, and just finishing it is normally a good result.
Yeah, normally it is, but you talk about gaps in qualifying. Gap from P1 to P2 is only 1/100th of a second, and 1/100th of a second when you're talking about a track as long as the Nordschleife, 22.8 kilometers long, and it only comes down to 1/100th of a second. That is absolutely insane from Tom Ward and Bill Fraser at the top of your field right now.
And absolutely, we want to talk about Bill Fraser because he's right there on Tom Ward. And this could be a great competition between the two of them for tonight. But we take a look at our points so far in the series. And at the moment, it's Benny Simonson up front after only having 4 starts already. Jack Hobbs in second place. He's had some very consistent results, although not actually really any podiums or wins. Edwards, McWatson, Bill Fraser in 5th. And that's your previous champion, of course. He's had great success so far. Only 4 rounds, though, and he's had a win. Benny's had 2 wins over his only 4 starts. So you've got Gary Tall, Adam Terry, Fiman Tenides, who's had some successful results, and Robert Plumley back there in 10th. So quite a spread in terms of how these guys are actually performing in this one. And Linus, you've not been here for a while, but this track is one you know well.
Yeah, we've been here a few times, and it's usually quite a lot of action, even though it's only 3 laps. But it's a lot and a lot of corners, and they're very, very long straightaway coming to the end of the lap. Can bring out about 3 or 4 passes back and forth between the same 2 cars, so this is not going to be over until the last corner, hopefully.
Certainly isn't, of course. And Connery, this place, attrition, our big #1 consideration.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you're a driver like me, you struggle to get 1 clean lap around here, let alone 3 clean laps in a row. But yeah, these top guys, at least the ones inside at least the top 20, know exactly what they're doing. I don't think we'll be seeing many issues from them. It's more the cars at the back of the field that will have to be a little bit concerned about the attrition. But if you can keep it together, if you're starting further down the field, you could be on to gain a lot of points for this round.
You certainly could. And well, this has got one of the most ridiculously long times after the checkered flag shows on a qualifying session because, well, they need to have a long qualifying session so people can get some laps in. Of course, it's about nearly 8 minutes per lap. A 20-minute session would let you get maybe 2 at most. Here, they have, rather than practice, they have 2 hours of qualifying to put their best laps in, which is their practice session. And the time to let you finish your final lap is lenient, to say the best, least even. It's 13 minutes long. So we've been basically sitting here trying to cover some time. We'll be with you for the moment, guys. So if you're waiting for the race to start, you have less than 2 minutes now to wait. 120 seconds. It's barely enough time to go to the toilet until the race starts. Not sure why I brought that up as a comparison, Linus, but it works.
Yeah, it does. But then when those 2 minutes are over, we also got to gridding, so maybe 3 minutes is enough time.
Linus will be our test bed for this one, and Linus is going to try and run to the toilet before the race starts, so we'll talk to him in a moment. But Connery, this place, the speeds are such a big variety in terms of... Stop laughing at me, my gosh, my co-commentators are immature today. But as it stands, Tom Ward, not been here a lot this season, but still always someone to be afraid of when he gets into a fight with you. It's a very fast car.
Yeah, he did say towards the end of the last season that he wouldn't really be racing in a lot of races this season. So that kind of opens up the championship a little bit, but he is back for this round at the Nordschleife and currently actually will be pole position because there's no one out there on track to finish a qualifying lap, so any standings that you see right now will be final. So I'm looking forward to this duel between Tom Ward and Bill Fraser, the shall we say, the aggressive drivers of this field.
Absolutely, and the aggressive drivers certainly will give us something interesting. And Linus, Paul Thurston, huge qualifying from him, but he's a bit of a fan of this track.
Yeah, he's had a really good qualifying. He's currently sitting in 7th, and I don't think anyone is about to end their lap, so he's going to be having one of his best starting positions I ever seen, I think. And last time I was here at the beginning of the season, he had a really good race, so be interesting to see. But if he can just hold it together, I reckon he's going to have one of his best results ever today, by the looks of it so far. So interesting to follow him throughout.
Certainly will be, of course. And well, with a couple of moments left to go, we just have a quote here from Sarah Savage, apparently. That straight is long enough to eat a Mars bar. I love it. XD. I don't know if this is a testament to me or something, Connery, but I could certainly definitely manage to eat a Mars bar on that straight. Or several. In fact, I do recall once eating dinner, and this was roast potatoes and roast chicken with veg, whilst racing at Pocono in IndyCar. Yeah. I ate a Sunday dinner whilst racing an IndyCar, drafting with the car. But anyway, I digress. We'll talk about that later, probably not. To the grid. Tom Ward takes the pole today, what time of 7:55.333. Bill Fraser in second place with Simon Edwards, Sarah Savage, Jack Hobbs. Sixth place is James McRitchie with Paul Thurston, Seymour Harding, Matt Cox, and LJ Garnett returning. Jake Foster, to see him back. Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, Rod Rowland, Gary Tall, Darrell Taylor, Doug Pickering in 16th with Ryan Hewitt, Adam Terry, Anthony Sheen, Anthony Jones in 20th. Rest of those positions on your screen. And a lot of big names further back, Linus. Doesn't want to talk, of course. Linus is talking about racing snacks, apparently, so he decided to find food after we started discussing it. Connery, engines rev, we're ready to go.
But here we go for the race. It's going to be a good start for Tom Ward from pole position. Bill Fraser just following behind as they all get surprisingly single file down in towards turn number 1 as this field tries to file its way through, Rachel.
I think English is something we're struggling with in this one too, but Tom Ward, of course, leading the pack off there down to this first section of the track. Quite a nice, simple section. It belies the real terror of this racetrack and the speeds we'll get up to, with some simple switching left and right-hand corners. A nice flowing section here. They've actually changed to reduce the speeds that came through this part, as we'll come down to one of the first big straights in a moment, which is a slight kink and leads up the hill the far side. Flat out from this point onwards for your field as they move forwards, and looking further back. There'll be a lot of drivers here wanting to make up some room, but wanting to do it in the right place, of course, Linus, because, well, when the field's this tightly packed up, it's probably one of your few opportunities. If we look a bit further forwards, there's already some side-by-side action happening, and that involves, I believe, just behind Seymour Harding is Garnett. Yes, LJ Garnett there, one-time teammate of Tom Ward, was racing with Matt Cox.
Yeah, he's going slowly down the straight line. That's going to be going backwards for him through the field rather than upwards, so see where he ends up here, but he's going to have his work cut out for him after this. And further down the field we have a very familiar name, Bahim Antonides. He's currently in 22nd is where he started, so he's gonna have to use this first lap to gain a lot of positions, but at the moment it looks like he's going backwards as well.
Certainly does, of course, and going backwards is not the best situation at the moment, but front pack here, about 6 cars staying well together, and Fraser actually got ahead of Tom Ward. He's leading there, and Ward looking for a way past. It's him, Edwards, Savage, Hobbs, and McRitchie here, Linus, really pulling a good gap.
Yeah, they've single file themselves out like everyone, and they seem to be the fastest cars here. There's actually a 7th car hanging onto the back of that as well. As we see a move here for 4th place, but I don't think that's going to end up with a change of position.
Certainly not yet, but as it stands, Fraser holding on to that spot. He's viciously defending against Ward. The speed the young Scotsman's found, Connery, has certainly been very impressive.
Yeah, it really has, as we did have a little bit of a trouble near the back of the field. Likes of Doug Pickering have been off the pace. I think there's a little bit of fisticuffs, shall we say, down at Arenberg, but it seems like everyone, pretty much everyone's gone through there unscathed as we head down towards the bottom of the valley for the first time for your race leaders. Tom Ward so close to the back of Bill Fraser coming through there, but they'll file themselves through the left and the right and going even further down the valley before you start to climb all the way back up. It's basically this track, there's a valley in the middle of it, you go up 2 mountains, one either side.
You certainly do, and of course you don't want to make sure you get into this position where you get cornered here at this track, because there are some very awkward sections we get to, Connery, where having 2 cars side by side either means a major crash or it means someone has to slam on the anchors and stop, essentially, with some of the the switchback sections we have and the chicanes built into this circuit. We're coming down to one of those now as we head to the very bottom of the valley you were just talking about, and this of course is our choke point before the big climb, and that really makes things a bit more difficult.
Yep, it does. As your two race leaders, they go side by side. Bill Fraser, Tom Ward. Tom Ward will be a driver's right-hand side. We can see if Simon Edwards decides to get himself involved in this early stage. There's a gap for him down the middle if he so wishes, but I think he's just going to back out of that one for now. It is the first lap of 3 here, early stages still, as Jack Hobbs behind, looking threatening over Sarah Savage there, but he will just be a little bit patient as well as Bill Fraser gets himself to the race lead.
He very much does, of course, and things just flashed up for me there. Problem solved, actually. But at the very front, Fraser starting to pull a gap, which is very important for him to do early on. If he can make a gap here on Ward, the draft being broken, he'll be successsul. 25 car, Connery.
Yeah, Jonathan Sheen. Oh, that is contact with another car. That is with, well, the torpedo just got torpedoed there a little bit. That's Ryan Hewitt. Bounced over the curb and just out into the middle of the track. Jonathan Sheen was there. Nothing Sheen could have really done there. Just got caught in Ryan Hewitt's own mistake. And it was a car that got caught behind as well. Aidan Bro got himself involved in that one. He has very, very significantly damaged front nose of that car. But I think the drivers managed to take the toe before anyone else got involved.
Absolutely nicely done of him to get himself out of the way there and not involve further cars in this, where the track can be somewhat narrow, really, considering how big this race circuit is. It's not a very wide one, Linus. Of course, not really have much expansion possibility considering the age of the circuit, but it does mean even the Skippys can form a rather sizable block on this track if they end up sideways.
They can indeed, and with the barriers being so close to the track in most of the places, like where they crashed, if you go off, you're pretty much instantly going to be bouncing straight back onto the track, and getting out of the way as soon as possible is key here to avoiding causing massive pileup.
Certainly is, of course, and up front, Fraser leads Ward, leads Edwards, Sarah Savage back there. In fact, she's dropped back into the 4th spot at the moment behind Edwards. Hobbs, McRitchie, Thurston, Harding, as we head up towards the kind of later part of the track here. We're heading up towards the end, nearly, of this one. Coming through one of the twistier wooded sections here towards the end of the circuit. This is probably my favourite part here, Connery, actually. This section here from the carousel onwards. Beautiful flow to this part of the track. It really does lend itself to good racing.
Ooh, as we see Simon Edwards just get a little bit wide over the one on the apexes there, so he has to drop to the back of this pack. And actually, that's a slowdown penalty that he's taken a little bit unsafely there. Has to let the whole train of cars through before he gets himself going again. And well, maybe someone should tell him about the rule that you can just let off the throttle a little bit to serve a slowdown penalty instead of braking in the middle of the racing circuit. But there we go. He's got that one served, and he's gotten himself back going again. Seymour Harding ahead of him, attacking Paul Thurston. This is for what is going to be number 6, but Thurston runs a bit wide.
On the grass, had to lift off there and nearly came washing back across the track onto the long straight here. And this is one of the quirks of the Nordschleife. As we look back to your leaders, we're going to see, I believe that's Sarah Savage, make a move here, as Tom Ward also makes a move, so we go 3 wide for a brief moment. But this is one of those tracks where not only is making this move at this point bad, you'll get passed back by the leader. Look at him now. Bill Fraser goes back to try and pass the man who just drafted past him. This is some IndyCar stuff here right now, of multiple drafting passes on the same straight by 2 drivers, which I don't even think IndyCar can manage. But Bill Fraser's got him back past, as he's going to have to deal with Sarah Savage, who will be on the outside for the next corner if he can hold his position. Savage there in the blue car on the outside. Fraser should have the line here. He will have the line. Savage will not have the advantage, but now he's got a car between himself and Ward. As look how effective that draft was. 2 complete passes in a straight, only at the Nürburgring.
Yep.
Tom Ward lifted off towards the end of that straight as well, so I think he might have been able to pass back, but he didn't want to be side by side. Well, 3 wide going into the twisted section, so he took the sensible option and slowed down. But this also let Jack Hobbs and James McRitchie catch up, so this is a 5-car pack again for the race lead.
Absolutely, and well, at the moment. Oh, big swoop wide there by Fraser at the front. He got a little bit loose on the rubber that's been put down on the outside of the track, or the dirty section there. In fact, a lot of these cars seem to be washing a little bit wider here as we start lap number 2. The second and penultimate lap of this 3-lap race here at the Nordschleife. 3 laps still will take us a considerable amount of time, of course, as last lap times by those guys, 7:59, so they're only about 3-4 seconds off their qualifying time, Linus. Safety matters as much as speed.
It does, but then as well, that was also the start of the lap, so or the start of the race, so that will take a couple of seconds off the lap times. But they're going side by side as well, passing through turns, so that's going to slow them down as we see Sarah Savage going for the lead here around the outside. And Tom Ward is looking to make it 3 wide, but he's actually going to stay behind Sarah, who's going to be back in the lead here.
Oh, we've had an incident with Aidan Brown there. Connery, do you want to tell us about what happened? As Savage and looks like Fraser here having a bit of a tussle.
Yeah, definitely looks to be the case. As Aidan Bro himself removed from the server, shall we say, for reversing into traffic after having an incident. The race admin not really happy about that one, so that was swiftly dealt with. But Sarah Savage and Tom Ward going side by side up towards Ardenauer and then towards Arenberg as well. And Tom Ward will just squeak his way through. But Sarah Savage has just been, hanging on to this pack with Jack Hobbs and James McRitchie as well. So you've got a 5-car pack for your race lead. That's how strong the draft is here, even though there were multiple tenths of a second a lap between these guys in qualifying. That draft acts as an equalizer so they can race each other.
Certainly does there, and of course Tom Ward back past Savage as they're joined by Jack Hobbs in his top group here along with James McRitchie. So we have a bit of a 5-car grouping in this section. Back to Seymour Harding. He's leading a group here with Simon Edwards, who just cleared him. Paul Thurston's got himself back up to speed. He's still in 8th place right now, Connery. So Thurston going to be looking for a good result if he holds this one, but we do know he is a big fan of this track, so we're expecting a decent result.
Yeah, we are, and he's kept it clean so far. He does have a couple of cars ahead that he could potentially pass by the end of this race. We're currently heading towards about the halfway point of lap number 2 here. So Thurston, he does have time. He does have time to get past Simon Edwards and Seymour Harding ahead of him. But he also has to be concerned about the likes of LJ Garnett and Matt Cox behind him. And actually, this front pack isn't actually all that far away from them. About 2.5 seconds at this point. So it's possible if this first pack, if the pace of this first pack slows down, that Edwards, Harding, Thurston, Garnett might be dragged into it.
Certainly is, and well, Thurston looking like he's about to be passed actually by LJ Garnett, as you just mentioned. Speaking of dragging him into it, they're dragging themselves right now. Although the sweeping corners here will probably hold that pass off for a while. If I can get a camera angle here past the trees, I'll tell you what's going on with the leaders. As once again, Fraser showing he is truly matured into a legendary racer in this series, Linus. The young, plucky Scotsman who typically got himself into more trouble than he did podiums has recently, obviously not been back for a couple of races, but has been racing incredibly intelligently. And here he is 2 wide with Tom Ward as Hobbs and Savage go 2 wide. This is quite bold for these guys. It's, wow, Ward will get through there. But I want to say Bill Fraser is racing with incredible maturity and much more speed than we've seen from him in the past, as he has a bit of a wobble there.
Yeah, he's been racing really clean, and we saw the massive effect of the drafter as they caught up to him and passed him. But still holding 2nd place, and he's going to be looking to get back past Tom Ward coming onto the next straightaway here in about a minute's time or whatever it is. But these 5 cars keeping it very well together, and having 4 cars behind them, like said about 2 seconds back, I don't think there will be any struggle, as we see Sarah slamming the brakes. They're almost getting hit from behind. Don't really know
that was,
if they made contact, but I think they were good.
I think they avoided it very close there from them. One driver I do want to mention, Stuart Adcock, normally a front runner in this series. He's sitting back behind Mark Murphy in, well, 21st place at the moment, along with Barry West, Tony Stack, and Tonides, who's back in 18th. So some of the big performers here are right down the field, as Fraser has a problem. Connery, he's back on the track, but he's lost a lot of time.
Yeah, this is the sort of section after the carousel. He just went off, comes up over the... He just completely overshot the exit of the corner, just tags the Armco barrier on the outside a little bit. So maybe a little bit suspension/wheel damage for Bill Fraser right now. And Tom Ward, he kind of has to capitalize on that at this point, try and break the toe to Fraser, Savage, and McRitchie. Of course, Jack Hobbs also on this train as well. And Tom Ward, he has got a bit of a gap, but I don't think it's big enough to be able to, you know, stop any move coming down the Dottinger Hook.
Certainly do, of course, and the Dottinger Hoe will be a great location for some more passing action, which we'll likely see in this one again as we are here approaching the last sector of the track. Once again, Tom Ward's getting himself a big gap. Can that be recovered? It probably will be, depending on what these guys can pull out of their bags. Because the field is a little bit more spread out now, which could change how this plays, but it also depends on whether there is any damage really to the car there of Wardliness, because he did take a bit of a slide and looks like he caught a bit of wall, but we're not too sure.
Yeah, watching close-ups on his car doesn't look like the wheels are out of line, and with the speed he's still got, I don't think he's going to have any issues. But by the end of the long straightaway, these 5 cars will be up in a massive group again, so they're all going to draft back up to each other. So it's going to be an interesting last lap with these 5 cars racing for the lead. Question is, how many will make it to the finish line?
Certainly is, of course, and well, it looks like a lot of them are making it so far. Out of 48 starters, I believe we do have actually quite a few didn't start, including Clark Williams, Ewan Patterson, Andrew Bolton, Andrew Patterson didn't start, Adrian Brow and Jake Forster, who did not start the race. We still have, however, 42 drivers who started the race, all still running, so impressive that these guys are in the switch. Look at the lead now, actually quickly switch back there as that spread out field has changed dramatically here, as Savage getting drafted by Hobbs to the very front, Fraser drafting with Ward. Fraser's going to go for a move here as they reach the second section of the Dottinger Hoe here under the bridge. Ward's getting completely abandoned as they pull a NASCAR, and everyone decides to just dump the guy at the bottom and draft past as it's there 3 wide again, and oh, contact! Big contact with Savage and Fraser, but both cars look okay, so maybe that was a snarl side.
Wow, that was Fraser catching a bit of air with that contact. Wow, I'm surprised he doesn't have more damage to that car. We'll see what his pace is on this this final lap. So white flag will be out there on the circuit, but wow. I thought we were going to see like double wave yellows after a massive incident there, but somehow they hang it together.
Yeah, they do, and incredibly so, actually. It's one of those races here where you're seeing some absolutely great performances from these guys and some narrowly missed major problems, but Savage might be in a position here to take her first win in the series if she can hold these guys off. But this is the third and final lap. They'll have one last run to the line, and as we saw there, it could be anybody's as we come to that final part of this race. Anybody can win on that final run down the Dottinger Holiness.
Yeah, it's going to be impossible to tell who's going to win when they go on to that straightaway. And you can't really put yourself in a good position because you'll get passed back as soon as you pass someone, and it's just going to be a mind game going down there and a whole lot of luck. But at the start of this lap, Bill Fraser is actually looking a lot more aggressive than he's done earlier in the race, so just hope he doesn't make any more mistakes here, because that could cost him the race, as we see him going side by side here again, behind Sarah for second place this time.
Yeah, Tom Ward wanting to try and make a place here, Connery, as he tried to look there, but Fraser holds himself in position, should hold second place alongside Savage. Could he go for an outside sweeper? This corner lends itself to that sort of move, and Fraser does it in style. Nicely executed by Bill Fraser. We told you he's matured as a racer in terms of his racecraft, and that was a textbook outside pass, Connery.
Does he want to be leading coming onto the long back straight? Oh, that's the issue that he has to be considering.
Here you do, because there's 2 draft passes available. Yes, you want to be leading with the second place car in a prime draft position because they pass you. Oh! And then you pass them as he gets hugely sideways, and round he goes into the barrier for Bill Fraser. Over he goes. Oh my gosh. Try and get a replay of that because Bill Fraser's opportunities just went out the window. Oh my gosh. He got a bit of curb, then he got a bit of too much curb on the inside. got sideways, and round he goes, hits the Armco and rolls it. He'll have to pay for the damage to the Armco because that's on the actual drivers, I believe, at the Nürburgring. But Fraser ends his race upside down on some grass, eating dandelions.
Yeah, but meanwhile, still side by side for the race lead, and that's Tom Ward just squeaking through there on Sarah Savage. Remember, we've still got McRitchie and Hobbs, which have been so quiet in this lead pack. Maybe this is their chance to pounce once they get into the sort of second half of this lap, and of course that all-important Dotton Gahoe as Tom Ward back end out as they head down the valley for the final time. Sarah Savage looking for the move, coming down into the left-hander here up towards the Bergwerk section, but she's not going to go for it for now. Same with McRitchie, same with Hobbs. They're just setting up for the move down the straight.
Certainly is, and we'll have to see what they can all achieve here. Savage could be looking at a possible win, but so could McRitchie and Hobbs. This is very tight, and Tom Ward is not by any means in a position to really dictate how this plays out. But as the field starts to climb here, we get to see a bit more excitement as this top four is battling nice and stereotypically, we should say. Paul Thurston in a group back here in the 8th spot. LJ Garnett, I believe, is just ahead of him as the trees actually get in the way of my camera, so I can't actually see anything on the racetrack. Thank you for that. Thurston's actually, I believe, up to the 7th spot. Garnett behind him with Seymour Harding. As, yeah, I can't see anything because of the trees. This is one of those problems with this track, is we get very limited in what we see. But, yes, Garnett and Harding behind Thurston there, so that's 7th place. But is somewhat on his own, actually. He's ahead of that group, but behind Hobbs. So, oh, back to leaders. Too wide there with Savage and Ward. Ward retains the lead yet again after an attack by Sarah Savage. Very aptly named, considering how she's racing today. As I think this might make our final run down the Dotton Gahoe as very entertaining indeed.
It will surely do, and, well, who's going to go with who, and are they going to go 4 wide coming into the last couple of turns? That's going to be the main question here. I'm not really sure what I would have done, but I think being 4th place going onto the straightaway is the best place to be.
Certainly does, and wow, this is certainly becoming an entertaining affair as they come through the carousel here. One of my favourite corners actually on this track. Beautiful flowing corner that really tucks you into that one, almost NASCAR-esque in fact, but a little tighter than NASCAR corners, Connery. It's just got this real hooking feeling. It's just great when the car lines up right.
Yeah, exactly. You can carry a lot more speed into there than you usually would for basically what is a 180-degree hairpin. So it's an absolutely thrilling corner. I wish to experience it in real life at some point. As you see James McRitchie just go a little bit wide there. That could drop him off this leading pair. So he has to be careful not to lose the draft here coming onto the back straight if he wants a shot at this race win, or at least the front 2 steps, the top 2 steps of the podium even. We've had an incident, I believe, with Gary Tall, the 207, and another driver involved in that one as well. That's Nicholas Vaughan Roberts in the 252. Vaughan Roberts has his own incident ahead, and Gary Tall just collected in that one.
Certainly was, and that's not good, but this sort of thing will happen at the Nordschleife, and attrition happens. We've had a lot less than normally we've seen before. We'll have to see what the leaders can do, because McRitchie and Hobbs have dropped back a little bit here, but no doubt they'll be back with the leaders. Coming to that final sector yet again here, and well, this is going to be the telling part, Linus, of course. Ward, Savage, McRitchie, Hobbs. Could be any one of 4.
Yeah, it's McRitchie and Hobbs have dropped off a little bit. I'm not sure if Hobbs is close enough to get up there, but McRitchie might have a shot at it. But as usual, I might be wrong, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. As Sarah Savage is closing in a little bit on Ward here again, but she's not going to be close enough to make a move before the straight, I don't think. So Ward is going to be leading the train going onto the straight, and then he's just going to have to sit there and wait and see what happens behind him.
I think he'll have to fight to defend himself, Connery, because there's no real opportunity just to sit on that straight and wait, as it just invites it, because here we come, approaching the Dotton Gahoe now, and this is where the real draft fest starts. I think the 2 behind are too far back. McRitchie and Hobbs will have to battle over 3rd and 4th place, because here we go, Savage and Ward. Ward should have the opportunity to pass Savage back unless she waits here. She's waiting specifically, Look at this. She's waiting and weaving and waiting for an opportunity. This is entertaining to watch. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's not letting herself pass him too soon. She's going to wait till she gets the last pass opportunity.
Here comes Hobbs.
And go for it. They do, yeah. They're closing in. Hobbs and McRitchie closing in. Here we go. Savage going to line up for the slingshot.
It's too late.
Ward has just read it already. No, she's plenty of room left to make this happen yet. And she's starting to close in on the toe. This could be a very, very good decision here from Sarah Savage to make this pass. Here come the two behind them. She goes for the outside line on Ward. And she might actually have this. Sarah Savage might have just taken it from Tom Ward at the final moment with a very entertaining strategy call. Oh, McRitchie and Thingy crash. Yeah, McRitchie and Hobbs crash there. Savage running outside of Ward. Savage and Ward side by side. Final corner now. Ward has the inside line. It's likely to go to him here. Savage backs out and gives it to him. Second place for Sarah Savage after an incredibly spirited run there in the final moments of the lappers. Unfortunately, there we go. Not unfortunately, Sam Edwards takes third place as McRitchie and Hobbs decided to potato each other in the face on the final run to the last corner, which seems like a waste after such a long race with no carnage. They decide to all do it in the final corner, which I guess means the journey for the fire department is a lot easier.
Yeah, it does, as the rest of the battles across the line, not a lot of them are close to really to call, but John McGovern, Charles Kellerman, this is going to be 4 positions, I think, outside your top 20 here, as it is P number 22. So this is the closest battle out there on circuit for the rest of your field. I think McGovern's doing the exact same thing that Savage tried to do on your race leader, heading down towards the final couple of corners. Let's see if he times it a bit better than Sarah was able to manage. So the 47, no, he's not going to even tuck back in. So not sure what the logic is there, but we'll see what happens here.
Certainly will. What a fantastic run there at the end. That was a great finish. I think I got a little excited actually. But that was, I loved seeing the tacticalness there she employed. I loved seeing it nearly work so much as well that I forgot the name of poor Jack Hobbs. I was like, it's McRitchie and Thingy, which is so professional, but that was so exciting to see that tactic, and I worked out what she was doing and to see it actually employed, and it nearly paid off. That was amazing.
Yeah, I think she moved in just a little bit too soon or too late. I'm not really sure, because if she would have been moving sooner, Ward would have gotten a bit of a more draft back, but it's as soon as she gets up alongside, the draft switches over to Tom Ward, so it's a hard thing to do, and she did it quite well. She just couldn't really hold it around the outside of the last corner, and that's where it got decided. But a good effort from her, and well done, and congratulations to Tom Ward as well on the win. So
certainly will. And with that, to our results. Coming home with the win today, just narrowly beating Sarah Savage, is Tom Ward. Sarah ends up taking second place. Simon Edwards in third, with Jack Hobbs, LJ Garnett in fifth. Seymour Harding, Paul Thurston, James McRitchie, and Matt Cox, with Daryl Taylor in 10th place. Great result for the Bananas there. And Tonides recovers to 11th from 22nd. Robert Plumley, Adam Terry, Mark Murphy, Peter Cowan, Anthony Jones, Anthony Catt, Rob Marshall, Tony Stack, and Nicholas Vaughan Roberts. What a fantastic run there from those guys today. And Connery, this track never fails to disappoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an absolutely fantastic finish with Savage and Ward heading side by side through the final couple of corners. That plan almost worked out for Savage, but Tom Ward hogging that inside line managed to make it work. 0.4 of a second was the gap at the end. But wow, that incident further back though, coming towards the line with I think it was McRitchie involved in that one. That is quite unfortunate. We could have had a good finish for P3 and 4 as well, but that was not the case.
Absolutely. What a fantastic run we've had tonight. And we're going to talk to the man right now, immediately in fact, who came home today in 7th. Paul, we know you like the Nürburgring. How was the race?
Likeable.
Could you give a more elaborate answer than just likeable? You're not Kimi Räikkönen, you're allowed to use full sentences.
Yeah, but on the really, really short tracks like Lime Walk, I go on for about 20 minutes and wax lyrical about how marvellous all 7 corners are. When you go 174 or 178 or however many there are in this one, basically, surely I should just do one word. I enjoyed that. I've had some good practice this week. Genuine pace. So what was the 1 second? There was 2 cars within 1 second, I think, here. Doesn't
In
really
qualifying,
work,
yes,
does
that
it?
was old Tom Ward and Mr. Scotsman himself, Bill Fraser.
Yeah, within 100th. That was after an 8-minute lap. That's not bad, is it? But I was, yeah, I've got some pace here. I was a couple of seconds off them. But that was a personal best in qualifying. Without a tow, I would add. Not everybody up there was didn't have a tow. So see, being big-headed for once, because for once I can. And in the race, it was just great. I made a silly little mistake at the end of the first lap when Seymour got on the inside of me, you know, in the draft, and basically I gave him too much room, and then put a wheel on the grass and had two wheels on the grass all the way around that final right-hander before the long straight. But I used the draft to pull myself back to him and Simon. LJ managed to catch us up, and I was in a battle with Simon, pulled away a little bit. In a battle with LJ and Seymour the whole way. I see Seymour's popped in. That's good. Brilliant. Last lap, I was second of the group, but made a little error around the Kleiners carousel, and which means that Seymour got to my right this time. And again, I gave him too much space. I think he actually slowed down to let me go in front again, because you don't want to be in front going down that straight, which dropped us from LJ. And then I was behind him, but I went too early. So, and he just drafted back past me again. Nothing I could do. I tried to scare him by going into the chicane side by side, but he had his nose in front. There's no way I was actually going to try that, and I think he knew that. So I was happy with 8th then, but then I can't. So was it Joe? Someone basically fell off on the last corner. I did that once when I was in second in the GPL race. That was quite annoying. And so Nick 7th, which I'm very, very pleased with, because it was 7th on pace. I like that.
Fantastic either way. You got a great season of points here to add to your total. Hopefully a chase for the top 10 in the points for you. And, well, we're about to talk to Seymour Harding, but we were going to talk to Sarah Savage, who came today second place, who I really wanted to talk to because I absolutely was enthralled with her tactics at the end of the race there. Incredible run, but apparently she's a filthy casual who doesn't have TeamSpeak installed. So unfortunately we don't get to talk to Sarah today, which is unfortunate, but someone raised a very good point of, oh, who has TeamSpeak in 2018? Oh, I don't know, anybody who cares about audio quality. But I digress. Seymour Harding came home today in 6th place, just ahead of Paul, and it was pretty busy in that second pack.
It certainly was. Hope you can hear me.
We can indeed.
Excellent. Okay. So I've only just installed TeamSpeak for the 24-hour race at the weekend, so it's all new to me. Yeah, that was intense, man. Especially as I was in VR. I don't know if you've noticed, all this season I've been starting from the back. I'm too scared to race because I'm in VR and it's all like very new. But that was amazing. And Paul, about the last chicane, I shut my eyes. I don't know where you were. Yeah, that was just good luck. Thanks for backing out.
You had a wheel in front back. There's no way I was going sideways, side by side through there.
I don't know. Yeah, well, that was good fun. I was amazed with 6th. That was brilliant. Hello?
It certainly was a fantastic run from you, and some great points in this one, of course. And just give us a quick rundown of what you think of the actual difficulties of this track in terms of racing it rather than just lapping it.
I have probably done more laps than most here, so I know a lot about lapping it, although I know I'm not quite the quickest. Yeah, going side by side through some of that stuff is it's just insane. Because, you know, a tyre on a curb or something, you just bounce across the track and it's game over for everyone. So, yeah, it is to be respected, I think, the track limits on that one.
Certainly is, and well, thank you for joining us today. Seymour Harding coming home today in 6th place, qualifying in 8th, of course.
Can I just pop in just for a second?
You might pop back in if you wish to, yes.
I just want to say, absolutely brilliant job by the two UK&I enduro teams this weekend. They didn't get the results in the end, 8th and 10th, I think it was, but they absolutely everyone put in a stint. They battled and battled and battled. The spirit in that was brilliant. Particularly Seymour was one of them. I mean, that was a great drive, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much. 3.5 hours, that's the longest drive I've ever done, apart from driving to Cornwall. It's a different pace.
Well, there you go. Of course, that's an update from the World Cup events that are happening this year. Paul Thurston, of course, being UK&I club captain. So we always have a chat to him regarding UK&I events. Is there anything coming up, Paul, before we let you go?
Yeah, well, we've actually got the schedule for all the all the World Cup events now. There's going to be votes coming up. We've just had a vote for the car and track for the Demolition Derby thingy, the whatever they call it.
Eliminator.
That is it? I can't remember. One of them,
yeah.
Something like that. But there's going to be votes for every single race this year, and they're going to actually only be just before the races. I'm going to put the whole schedule up in the next week or so, actually, on the forum. There's plenty of time. Next one's in June. And then we'll start. What I want to do is I want to actually get this year. I'm not going to do it all myself. The other events, other people chipped in at various points. I'm going to try and get other people involved, so it's more of a club thing, and we actually all help. Like the Enduro has been. I mean, Andrew Streetley was absolutely brilliant to organise this, and Jonathan as well. The two team captains, they did a superb job. I just want more people to actually get involved and help out, and I'm hoping Seymour will race in the big event as well. So that's we need to get everybody in for that. We've got to beat the Finns. We've got to try and beat the Finns. They're semi-pro, yeah, they're hell to beat, but if we don't try, we never will.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Your World Cup update for you, and well. This has been round number 6 of the UK&I Monday Night Skippys series. Of course, I've been Rachel Whiteford. I've been joined by Conor Maddock, and back finally, and back regularly, Linus Brostrom, the maestro himself, Hugo Louise, on the cameras. This has been, of course, RaceSpotTV, and don't forget, we are brought to you by Calm. That is the Campaign Against Living Miserably. Check them out in our description. And, of course, Esteban Valo's Track Pack for Gourmets for our cameras. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you same time next week. Good night.